Okay, today I'm going to show you how to bring it all together in your final drawing. So, you should have, once you have photographed your work, I will adjust it a little bit into black and white so you have good contrast of lights and darks, and then I'll print it for you. Now we're going to write down the steps to finish this up. So, first off, the step one, okay, so we're drawing steps. Call it drawing steps. Doesn't matter whether you're in pencil, pen, charcoal, we're going to all do this the same. So, step one is turn it upside down. So I turn it upside down. I'm going to draw it upside down. Okay? Step two is to draw the negative space. Step two is to draw the negative space. Hold on just a second. You will have a much bigger paper, but I'm going to do this way so you can still see my notes. All right, so I'm going to start out looking at this, and I have this negative space right down here. I want to draw fairly lightly, so it's this space down here. Okay, so it starts at the top of my paper, not all the way in the corner. It comes over a little bit, so a little bit over. It curves down this way. Then it curves back around that bottom there. Doesn't go all the way to the edge because I got this section right here to get in there. And that pretty much goes straight across. Then my next negative space will be right here. I'm going to draw this negative space right here. So I have a little bit of space over here. It comes over off that corner. It curves around. Try to draw lightly. I'm going to draw darker. It does get skinnier there, so I've got it getting skinnier. Okay, so there's that negative space. Now I'm going to draw this negative space in here. I'm going to draw the contour line, the rest of that contour line out here, which is also part of this negative space back in here. So it comes all the way to the edge of my paper. Make this a little more curved right there. Okay, now it comes down here. I'm going to draw this negative space right in here now, all the way to the bottom and up down here. So it comes around this way. It doesn't come all the way back here. It's going to come over here. And it comes down this way. It's closer to that edge over there, so I got to bring this out. Curves back in this way. And this way out here. Remember, you should be drawing lightly. I'm drawing much bigger, much heavier, just to make sure that you can see it. Otherwise, my camera doesn't pick it up very well. So there's that part. And now I'm going to draw this negative space in here. That comes around here. Around there. And back down into here. I have kind of this line right in here, this thick line I'm going to put back in there. Oh, didn't draw it curved enough. Now I have this negative space around here. It's going to start at the bottom down here, curve back up this way, come back down here, back down here, and back up. There. I have a little negative space right there. Oh, sorry. Forgot that wasn't in the camera. So that's right there. Then I have this negative space over here. So I already have that line. And this comes back in here. Back up there. So there's my negative space. Now, step 3 is to shade and add details. So you just have to look and decide. We're going to shade and add details. So I'm going to keep it upside down. And I'm going to look in here, and I can see lots of different details that I'm going to have to add. I've got lots of details in here I'm going to have to add. You have to decide if you're going to draw the details first or if you're going to shade first. And part of the details will come out, start showing up when you do some shading. I'm going to do this in charcoal. So I don't want to start with my very dark yet, my darkest, because if I start with my darkest, then I can't go any darker and I'm going to have problems. So I'm going to start with a lighter. Here's my charcoal pencil. Okay, so I have kind of a medium value over here on this piece over here. I'm going to color that in. And I have another lighter medium value in here. And then I'm just going to mirror that into there. A little bit darker right there. I have a highlight up here, so I'm going to go back and erase a little bit up here. This line, this contour line, I'm going to go in here. It's a little bit thicker, and it bends out a little bit right in there. And it changes value a little bit. Move that a little bit down there on that end. So I'm just adding my shading and my contour lines. If I have a white area, I have to decide, am I going to leave it white or am I going to go back in with an eraser and try and get that to pull back out of there? Now I don't have to copy this exactly. I can do some slight alterations as long as it looks somewhat realistic. Switch to my compressed charcoal in here, which is the thicker stuff. And it's going to be darker in there. Remember to take and tap it onto the newspaper instead of blowing it around. my eraser and go back in and get some lighter areas, because there are some lighter areas in this piece. Kind of smearing in there a little bit more with the eraser too. Quite feel like it's shaped quite right. Shape that a little bit differently. It needs to come out more like that. That's better. Okay, now this is back here is darker than that right there. So I'm going to go with my compressed again. Make that darker so that it goes back in space because of that overlapping. This spot is dark. This stuff gets somewhat dark. Get skinnier there. A few little dark marks over here on this side of it. You have to decide if you want to smear or what kind of texture do you want in there. What kind of texture are you trying to make too? A little dependent on that. Okay, so I'm just going to continue coloring this in and adding details. I go back in and get my whites if I need to, my mediums, my darks, just choosing what I think I need to use for what.